First off, we will design a shape that is small enough that the tower speaker can have a tweeter that's at your ear height when sitting down. I measure the inside diameter of the speaker. I then divide this by 4 to get a square box that makes it easier to calculate. I use an online calculator for aquariums to figure out the volume I need in liters for each speaker driver. Now we need top and bottoms and dividers and some bracing for the speaker. Using double-sided tape to make lots of copies here. My biggest goal for these speakers was not building the speaker, it was more to learn something about kerf bending and to learn something about veneering, as I hadn't never tried these things before. Instead of trying to figure out exactly how many cutouts I need, I'm just gonna make lots of them. And in the end this will give a more rounded result. And if there's any air in any of the cutouts, I'll be using this expanding wood glue to fill this out. I must encourage people to make a dry fit when making such a big glue up as this is. Lots of things can go wrong. And I surely found some things that would have gone wrong if I didn't. You need to fasten the top and the bottom, so the kerf can follow this figure, or else it just focuses down on the middle and trying to break the MDF in two. Use a wood clamp first, or else the straps won't be able to tighten it all the way down. Make sure everything is perfect. There's some extra time when you use this kind of wood glue. Now we just wait for it to pop. I put some masking tape on afterwards so the mess will be less. Since we have curved fronts, we need stacked speaker rings. And lots of them. This is where I scan it into my PC and then use my CNC to cut it out perfectly. Okay, maybe not perfect, but nothing a little body filler can't help. Here I think we need to curve the back just a little bit so the speaker can breathe. Here I'm making a new CAD file with my scanner. This is the Surface 2000 Pro. Here I'm putting glass fibers on the MDF, and the reason is when you have layers of MDF and you want to paint them, then in time you will always be able to see the different layers. The other reason is I wanted to reinforce the body filler. After the first layer have cured, I will put on a second layer, and when that is fully cured I'm going to sand it and then put another layer on and sand that. So I use the polyester resin as a form of build-up primer. It's all about aerodynamics, baby. And here we can actually see that it did pop. And here are more relaxing glue up using different glues. For feet we are using a 11mm thick aluminium from a food packaging machine. I'll try to make some interesting looking feet without spikes. I'm feeling that in my teeth. Here I'm applying contact cement with a roller and onto the veneer backside. This veneer has a paper back, I think it's called. That's why it looks a bit muddy. I made a mark on the speaker and the veneer so there's no guessing in making it straight. starting from the middle, going down each side, trying not to trap any air on the way, using this piece of wood that I rounded the edges on so I can push really hard. Because of the paperback, there was this slightly coloring following the edge of the veneer, so I had to borrow my daughter's markers in different brown colors just to fade that in before I painted it. I decided to use these old terminal cups with some new hardware installed. Normally I like individual binding posts, but in this case I just thought with the wiring being all the way down in the bottom, this would be easier. I'm putting down 3 layers of paint. We're just gonna use this as a build-up primer to sand later. Here it's fully dried and sanded and ready for the last couple of layers of paint. When it dries up, it's going to be matte black. Then it's time to clear coat the cabinets. Here I'm sanding with 500 grit sandpaper. I sprayed it 3 times with 2K clear coat. This is to build up as much clear coat as possible, so I have something to sand down later with the 500 grit sandpaper. Be careful that the sandpaper doesn't clog too much up. This can make scarf marks in the surface that at a later point maybe be visible in the clear coat. I think this looks beautiful, but if you don't want to see any wood grain at all, you have to 500 grit again and a clear coat again. Okay, maybe these terminal cups aren't a thing of beauty, but they will have to do. Soldering speaker wire. These speaker drivers came as a kit and the crossover was already assembled, so not much to show here. Here I've already added damping materials to each of the walls inside the speaker cabinet. adding more damping materials for the speaker cabinet. This actually supposedly increases volume of the speaker. For the sake of time, I'm using this self-mixing epoxy. Trying to make sure everything is sealed in a proper manner. The other tube was too big to come in from the front, so I'm holding the tube inside the speaker cabinet. And then I measure that we get the right length. Off camera, I put a bead of epoxy on each Phillips screw, and that is the way the ring is mounted. This was a bit of a weird angle to solder the speaker terminals, so I just cut the excess wire off afterwards. Doing my best to center the speaker for greater looks. I love the look of these drivers, the carbon fiber woofer and the full range that is used as a tweeter here with the little wooden cone. The shape of the wooden cone should actually help with higher frequencies. Then it's time to mount some feet. Since this is from an old food packaging machine, I can just use these silicone gaskets as a way of disconnecting the floor. Then it's done and it looks beautiful. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. It was quite the journey to make this one. Sound wise, I think it sounds good, but not as good as some of the more high-end projects I have been making. So here's the sound demo.